Are you ready to break through any barrier or limiting belief holding you back? Ready to embrace your full potential and achieve your greatest success? Ready to get noticed and become the champion you were born to be? Then buckle up, because you've come to the right place. Greetings and welcome to the Real Rich Grogan Warrior Confidence Unleashed podcast. I'm your host, Master Coach Rich Grogan, and I am truly blessed and grateful you're here today. And I promise I'm going to do everything I can to ignite your warrior spirit to help you unleash your full potential to be the hero, the legend, the mentor, the coach that you were born to be. Good stuff. All right, well, hey, this is Audacious August. Audacious August. And Audacious, for those that weren't able to tune in last week, it's all about those big, seemingly impossible goals that you're going to achieve. You're going to set those things up. You're going to break through of any limiting belief or barrier holding you back to achieve those audacious goals, to have your most audacious August. Woo! Say that real fast several times. Wow. Well, this is episode number 376, and I titled this episode, Lead Like a Legend, 3 Steps to Commanding Respect. Wow. Before we get into that, though, just want to remind you, hey, if you haven't checked out previous episodes, make sure you do so. Our last one was Seize Victory and Seize What's Yours by the 4 steps to achieving those audacious goals. All right. Well, let's get right into it. So what are the 3 steps of commanding respect and being the legend that you were born to be, leading from the front to get others to follow, right? Because if you're, and I've heard this said, I think it was John Maxwell that said it, if you're leading and no one's following, you're simply going for a walk. And I know that I've gone for many, many walks. Now, think of walks really help unleash the mind, right? Let it go, whatever thoughts, stresses, and things that are going on. It's a great thing to do. But if you're leading, you need people to follow you. And if nobody's following you, you're all by yourself. Now, this is episode number 376, and I know I've got thousands of followers now, and I'm so blessed, so very grateful and thankful for each and every one of you, and I'm talking to you right there, for taking time out of your busy day to listen, because I know time is the most sacred commodity on the planet, and the fact that you're taking time to be with me, I promise I'm going to give you everything I've got. But I get asked all the time, how in the world did you do 376 podcasts? Well, it's sort of like how to eat an elephant. One bite at a time, right? One podcast at a time. And you grow from there. And there's been many times that I don't want to say I wanted to give up, but I'd think, man, I'm only getting 10 or 15 downloads. Then it was, 20 or 30, then 40, then 50, then 100. And then from there, it just continued to build. But it didn't happen overnight. Nothing does. You're not going to develop into the leader that you want to be overnight. You're going to make some mistakes. I've made so many mistakes, I don't even know where to begin. And that's why I do the podcast and the video blogs and everything I do, working with athletes and leaders, to be as transparent as possible. So you're going to make mistakes. And I've talked about this, especially on the last one, talking about seizing victory and seizing what was yours. And that is, a champion is not someone who's never failed before. A champion is someone who's failed over and over and over again, but refused to give up. They got back up each and every time, learning from those failures, learning from those setbacks, learning from those challenges, and making a commitment to be better. That's what a leader does. Yeah, a leader's not going to be right all the time, but a leader's going to be humble enough to realize, hey, I goofed up. I'm going to say I messed up, but I promise you this, I am going to do everything I can to learn from this, to gain the wisdom from this, and get better. And that's what leaders do. That's what leaders that command respect do. So what's the first step? Well, the first step is, what is the first step? There we go. Essentials of legendary leadership. And before I get into that, I want to tell you, I'm just like everybody else. I've had good leaders. I've been, I would like to think, a good leader at some point in time, hopefully continue to get better. But I've also had bad leaders. And unfortunately, I have been a bad leader. How do I know that? I always put forth my very, very best, but the response I get from those I'm trying to lead and mentor, it's not connecting. If I'm not reaching them on a level that they can understand. And I've always thought and believed that Your best leaders, your best communicators, your best mentors, your best speakers are those that not only connect with their audience or connect with those they're leading and mentoring, but they connect in a way that that person understands. In other words, I don't know how many people I've worked with and speakers that I've heard and coaches and mentors. Man, they got all the knowledge in the world. They got all the certifications in the world, which is great. That's how you continue to learn. But they talked way, way up here. Or they talked down, kind of belittling. Well, neither one of those are a good way to connect. I felt your best communicators, your best leaders are the ones that are able to talk to their audience at a level that's not degrading, it's not above their head, but at a level for them to understand. So you're talking to and with them, not to and down to them. Does that make sense? All right. So I'm going to share a couple examples that really, it's almost like if you've had a bad relationship or you've had something traumatic happen, it's there. We remember the good ones, but you also remember the bad ones. And I remember once I was a PE teacher for 11 years, and man, oh man, it was so much fun. And I was K through 12. The majority of the time I was at the elementary buildings. And I was just nothing but a big kid like I am now, teaching PE. And we had a ton of fun. I always had my whistle, and a lot of times in the lunchroom, I was, like I said, a big kid. I'd blow my whistle all the time. The other teacher's like, gosh darn it, what are you doing? Not only in the gym, but through the halls and this and that. So, yeah, I was getting sent to the principal's office myself. Anyway, I remember once, this happened actually a couple times, but one time it was the point I couldn't take it anymore and probably said something I shouldn't have said to a social worker. And we're in the teacher's lounge, and she's in there, and she says, and I told him I'm the one with the master's degree, as I pointed to my certificate on the wall, and he is going to respect me, and he is going to listen to me, and that's what I told him. Now, this social worker, we never really saw eye to eye because she had kind of that Pharisees greater than now, and I'm nothing but a big kid, like I said, blowing my whistle all the time. So I was like, I couldn't bite my tongue anymore. And I said to her in front of everybody, which I probably shouldn't have, but I don't know. She was kind of making a spectacle of herself anyway. And I said, and who were you trying to convince that you had the master's degree and then they were going to respect you as you pointed to your certificate on the wall? Were you trying to convince that 5-year-old you were talking to or yourself? And of course, she blows off. What do you know? All you know how to do is blow a whistle. And then, of course, on cue, she blew my whistle in the teacher's lounge. So that really ticked her off. She grabbed her lunch plate and kind of stormed out of there. But my point, and I remember that, is she's talking to a 5-year-old and telling the 5-year-old, I'm the one with the master's degree. Now I'm thinking the 5-year-old, he doesn't know what the heck a master's degree is. Thinking, well, is she a master martial art instructor? And then pointing to her certificate up there. That's a piece of paper to him. Now, I bring that up because I've never forgotten it. That was probably 20-something years ago because of just how ludicrous it is. And it was. I mean, the connection. For a 5-year-old, do you think that 5-year-old respected her? I can't imagine, right? And then another kind of yucky example that I remember, and this is my days we were in the martial arts, our federation I was with for almost 26 years, and the same organization that Chuck Norris kind of grew up in. But I parted ways with him in 2014. It was difficult because I've been with him, like I said, almost 26 years. It was like a majority of my life was with this organization. But a big reason was I called it senioritis. And a lot of others did too. Seniors are like, you will bow to me because, you will bow to me because, you will bow to me because. And that was a big part of the martial arts. And out of respect, I always bowed. But I always hated when somebody demanded. And I'll talk in a little bit about the difference between commanding respect and demanding respect. Demanded just because. I remember one senior, we're actually in the bathroom, and they're doing my business, and he comes in, I'm getting ready to finish up, and I'm going to wash my hands. He goes, you didn't bow to me. What is your problem? Don't you know protocol? And I'm like, dude, can I wash my hands first, or can I finish peeing first and then wash my hands? Unbelievable. And then he comes out and he's a senior in the organization, drunk as can be, slurring his words, and then for the next 15 minutes, in front of this group I was with, decides to berate me for not bowing to him in the bathroom. Come on. Now, what kind of leadership is that? Really? Unfortunately, there's a lot of that going on. So those are kind of, obviously bad examples that ingrained a scar. I don't know if I guess it's a scar, but ingrained in my brain that I'll never forget. So, and I hope to think I've never been that extreme. But anytime I feel like, am I acting like the leader I want to act like or be like, or am I acting like those two? And there's countless other examples, but I just wanted to share those with you. So that kind of gets your mind thinking, wow, have you had leaders like that before? Hopefully not to that extreme, but we've all had the not so good ones. And to balance it out, I'm going to talk about several really, really good leaders that have impacted me in a great way as well as I get into the 3 steps. So that first step I was talking about is the essentials. Now, Maya Angelou once said, people will forget who you are, means they may forget your name. People will probably forget exactly what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Think about that for a minute. Yeah. How you make people feel. Now, we all have our days. And unfortunately, it seems like when we have our days, that's when we make the biggest mistakes, right? We goof up, say things we wish we wouldn't have said because we're tired, short-tempered, which, could come from anything, lack of sleep, traffic, dealing with our own problems, emotional problems, dealing with our kids, dealing with work problems. It adds up. And that's when, of course, we need the essential of being a leader, knowing when. You got to, wait a minute, just give me a minute here. I'm going to take, knowing when to do that. Knowing when to shut down, or I guess in my case, shut up before I say something I shouldn't say. Yeah, that's the essentials of being a good leader and kind of leaving a legend. But you got to know when you got to shut down. You got to know when you need to recharge the battery. You got to know when to is this really worth saying what I want to say? Now, I'll never, ever tell you not to speak the truth or if you see that someone needs help, don't lie to them. That's it's right now. And there's a way to do it without, being offensive and being rude, mean, and disrespectful and a bad leader. But I feel if you see somebody who's struggling, you feel somebody who's suffering, and you don't do or say something to help them, and once again, if it's not your place, it's not your place. But if somebody you're leading, lying to them is never the answer. You've got to, you got to weigh it out, of course. But you got to remember, do I really want to help this person? And it depends on your relationship. It depends on how well you know them. And it depends on how long you've been working with them, what you can and can't say. Once again, being a leader does not give you the command or authority to be rude, mean, and disrespectful. Just think back to the poor leaders that you've had before. And ask yourself, am I acting like that leader or am I acting like the leader I want to be? Yeah. So, a couple good leaders. We'll talk about them. First, I got to mention a guy named Bob Singer. And Bob was my first real boss outside of working on the farm. And those that don't know, I grew up on a farm and had just countless chores on the farm, hand milking a cow at 9, 10 years old. And for those that don't know, cows do not give milk freely. You earn every darn drop. Earn every drop. Now, for those that I remember, I was in the 6th grade and I had a good 6th grade teacher. And one of the things he was curious about, how do you milk a cow? And I remember showing him. So I thought, well, I might as well show the friends watching on YouTube right now. So how you hand milk a cow? You ready for this? You start up that part at the udder, and you're here, and you start and you work it down. So you wrench it down. But you got to get it started up here and then wrench it down. So there you go. You listen to the podcast for leadership tips, and now you know how to hand milk a cow. Yes, fantastic. All right, being a little goofy here. But anyway, Bob, he was the manager of Bonanza. It's my first real job outside of working for farmers and cutting grass and baling hay and shoveling poop and all the other chores that I had to do and other farm jobs. But Bob was a great leader. He became an extremely good friend. Matter of fact, after years of at Bonanza of being a what was I, a busboy, a fry cook, prep cook, and then the head cook. Yes, and then I became like a dining room manager and then assistant manager because he bought a Bonanza, which turned over to a Ponderosa later on. Some of you remember those old Bonanzas of Ponderosas, the buffet and all that good stuff. Yeah, I actually was talking to my wife the other day just about, and that's where I met Desi. My wife was, she came in for a job for a cashier. And anyway, one thing led to another. But about the price, we used to sell, ready for this? We had a coupon. For $1.99 was a coupon for a lunch buffet. And then we had a $4.99 lunch buffet, I'm sorry, dinner buffet coupon. And with a senior discount, it was like $3.99 or something. So it was pretty crazy to think about that back then for all you can eat. Wowzers. So anyway, Bob was a great leader. He took this hyperactive kid and saw something in me, and I was very grateful and thankful and helped me progress along. And I worked there until I was 23 years old. And he was a great boss, a great friend, great mentor because he helped guide me along. And with Bob, and I'm going to get into this in step number 2, which is the difference between commanding respect and demanding respect. And there's a huge difference. But before I get into that, I want to remind you, the hockey program is out, folks. How to get more ice time. It just launched. It's available on our website, warriorconfidence.com, warriorconfidence.com. There's a link in the description box. So just click on that, and it's $9. $9 for the masterclass video. And then I've got the workbook and the empowering ebook for a few dollars more. But man, oh man, what do you got to lose? $9. So click on that link, check it out. And the whole idea of the master or the How to Get More Ice Time program is to help, if you've got a teenage, young adult hockey player, get the ice time and leadership roles they want. Focus on 3 main areas: respect, work ethic, and communication skills, to help them stand out from the crowd, to get noticed, to do what they need to do, to catch the coach's eye through respect, work ethic, and leadership and communication skills to stand out. Like I said, it's only $9 for the masterclass video. Got nothing to lose, but everything, including your child's ice time and leadership roles to gain. So check that out, warriorconfidence.com. All right, on to step 2. Where is step 2? Got my notes here, and sometimes I get to talking and mix my notes up. There we go. Step 2 is commanding versus demanding respect. Now, here's the difference. Commanding respect is through your presence, through how you present yourself. Present yourself as the leader you've always wanted. Present yourself as, we're going to work together on this thing. Yes, there is a hierarchy, but I'm going to work with you. I'm going to talk to you and with you, not down to you, try and degrade you or bring you down. Commanding respect is everybody knows and sees where your heart's at, where your mind's at, where your intentions are at. Now, does that mean everyone is going to respect you? Unfortunately not. That's like, is everyone going to like you? Unfortunately not. I mean, I would love to be liked by everybody, but that's just not possible. Sad as it is, it's just not going to happen. And here's a bad thing. When you try to be everything to everyone, you end up being nothing to no one. I mean, if you don't stand on some principles, some core values, and as a reminder for those first-time listeners here, my core values are honor, integrity, discipline, and respect. I call them my core 4. So regardless what it is, if they are within those parameters, I'll do everything I can to make it right. Sort of like what we did at Martial Arts Academy. However, if someone asks me to breach my honor, breach my integrity, discipline, or respect, and I'm not saying I always had those in place. 15, 20 years ago, they weren't in place. And as much as I wanted to be the best leader I could be, I didn't really stand for a whole lot of solid core principles. I wanted to believe I did, but I didn't always. If push came to shove, I'd probably, you know what, okay. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But when I got my core 4, like people would come into the academy and they had to earn each belt. Just like right now, the hockey players, they've got to earn that ice time. I'm not going to have a parent pay me for a kid to get a belt or pay me for their kid to get ice time. Now they can pay me for me to help their kid with some additional lessons. That's different, but that doesn't warrant they're going to get the ice time. They got to put in the work, and that's integrity, standing on your core principles. So especially in the martial arts academy, you give a kid a belt he didn't earn, I'm setting him up for possibly getting hurt or failure. And ice time here with the hockey players or any athlete, giving them something they haven't earned, man, that's just, one, it's lying to them. Two, it's making them and hurting them in the eyes of their teammates. You're not helping there, and you're sacrificing your integrity for what? So that's commanding respect. You command it by your presence. Demanding and your presence and what you've done to that point. People respect you because of that. Now, demanding respect, that's out of fear. That's telling people, kind of like I talked about with the Martial Arts Federation, the guy telling me to bow in the bathroom. That's demanding respect. That's a power trip. That's an egomaniac. I mean, we've all probably encountered, well, probably our fair share, hopefully no more than a handful, but who knows, of those egotistical, I guess, power-hungry maniacs, right? That's demanding respect. You will respect me because I am your senior. You will respect me because. That's no. Respect is earned. It's not given. You can command respect, but you can't demand respect. And I guess you can, but no one's really, I mean, you know, I always wanted people in federation or in martial arts to bow to me because they respected me due to what I had earned. And I commanded that respect. I didn't want anybody bowing to me because I told them they had to bow. Yeah. You see the difference there? That's the same thing. I mean, obviously, this is all talking about leadership and want you to think in on, the good and the bad leaders you've had there and think about where you fit in that. Some days, maybe, there's days you're going to be better than other days, but think about where you are compared to the good leaders and the bad leaders you've had in your life. Now, to mention another, and there's different types of leaders. I want to mention a principal, Mrs. Beth Renth, during my years of teaching. She was fantastic. She had this quiet justice about her. If you did your job and you did your very, very best, she stayed out of your kitchen, so to speak. Now, I had other principals along the line that micromanaged everything. They wanted to be in your business, and I get it to a degree. They're the ones inevitably on the line if something goes wrong. But if you're a seasoned instructor, teacher, give some leeway, right? And do something wrong, then, yeah, get on me or whoever else. But Beth had it, and she was one of the best I ever worked with in the school district. If you did your job, stayed out of your kitchen, praised you, and all good. She'd even come to you and ask, and that's a good leader too, asking, hey, how can I make things better? Hey, just had my meeting. I just wanted to ask you what you thought about this point. And that's not asking because she was insecure. That's asking because she's very secure, but she wanted to get better. And on the other side, though, if you didn't do what you were supposed to do as a teacher, should be in your grill, man, and should straighten you out. And I always remember Beth, appreciate Beth. I could always talk to Beth about other principals that maybe I was having trouble with. And I'd ask her, hey, is there any advice you can give me? I'm the same person here at this school and this school and this school. And being an elementary PE teacher, I would go anywhere from sometimes 5 to 7 schools a week. That's just the rotation because unfortunately, kids only had PE 1 day a week. Gosh darn it. We wonder why we got an obesity problem in this country. Anyway, but Beth, quiet justice. She was great. I respected her. So what you can learn from the different types of leaders. So that was the second point, commanding versus demanding respect. Third point, strategic leadership. And what that means is we got to give and take, depending on who we're talking to and who we're working with. Now, that doesn't mean you sacrifice your core values. You got to have those in place. And I told you mine, honor, integrity, discipline, respect. You create your own, but they got to be in place. And it doesn't mean you ever breach them. But you do have to have a little give and take on who you're talking to. Some people you can, and I'm the rah-rah, motivate, get in your face, let's go, pump you up guy. And that approach doesn't always work for people. Now, it doesn't mean I change who I am in regards to my spirit and my power. But I also got to know some athletes that works for, and some athletes I got to back off just a little bit and not bring it quite so hard. You got to be able to read and know how to get the most out of everyone. Is that easy? Absolutely not. But neither is leadership. Leadership is one of the hardest things. That's why there's so few really, really, really good leaders, strong leaders. We've all had them. You know, my passion, my goal is to be the mentor, the leader, the coach I always wanted, wished for, prayed for in my life. I want to be that, to help them overcome the challenges and struggles that I know I went through as a kid, as a teenager, as a young adult, as a parent, as a husband, as a coach, as a player, an athlete. Find all that in there. As a martial artist, as an instructor and a student, be that mentor. So strategic leadership, I like to think of it as Stephen Covey and 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Yeah, that's it. Wrote, seek to understand before seeking to be understood. And I'll say that again. Seek to understand before seeking to be understood. Now, oftentimes, and something I've struggled with, being the rah-rah guy, I want you to understand what I'm saying. I want you to apply what I'm saying because I want you to be your best. I mean, those are all good. And that's what I truly want in my heart. Sometimes I got to back off a little bit and try and understand what their point is. So here's a great example. Oftentimes, if you don't seek to understand first, your vision for what they want and their vision for what they want are totally opposite. And I don't know how many times I've had this goof up or problem. And it seems to be one that being so definitely hyperactive. I was never diagnosed to have an ADHD or ADD or any of those things, but I'm quite sure I got it. But my whole goal is I know what's best for you. Oh, I shouldn't say my goal, my problem, I guess. I know what's best for you, and I'm going to tell you what's best for you, and I'm going to help you overcome your deficiency so you can be your very, very best. Now, in my heart, and that's pretty heartfelt, I want to give you everything I got to help you get to where I think you want to go. The problem is sometimes without seeking to understand, I never ask them where they want to go. Maybe they don't want to go where I'm trying to take them. And example all the time, I think every athlete wants ice time, leadership roles, wants to be on special teams like the penalty kill, the power play, out there late in the game. Either we're down by a goal and we want to score one, or we are one goal up and we got to preserve the lead. Well, I think all athletes want that. Well, the truth of the matter is not everyone does. Some of them, that's too much pressure. I don't want any part of that. So if I go at it that every athlete wants that, I'm forcing them into a bad situation. I got to ask. I remember back in the days of the Martial Arts Academy, people would come in and I'd talk about our self-defense is this, and then we work on our hand combinations and our joint locks and our takedowns, and we won't focus on helping you be your very, very best. And what I mean by your very, very best is that you believe in yourself, you have the confidence to stand up for yourself, and in no way, shape, or form is anyone going to bully you, because I'm going to teach you the tips and the strategies. You're going to work hard and you're going to make it. And the person's like, oh, I was just wanting to lose a few pounds and do an activity with others. But I guess that stuff sounds good. So instead of asking what they truly wanted, and it doesn't mean I'm going to, we've got our protocols, our principles, and this and that, but I need to know exactly what they want. Sort of like if you go to a doctor and right when you walk in, he thinks he knows what the problem is without ever asking. He goes, all right, I want you to take these pills, and I want you to do this and drink this, and you'll be fine. And you're like, well Doc, I never told you what's wrong. I'm just having some knee pain. Oh, well, I thought maybe you had some problems with sleeping, or maybe you're not as healthy, or you got a cold. And that's the problem when we don't communicate. That's why I think it's so powerful, and it's something I need to remind myself of. That's Stephen Covey. Seek to understand before seeking to be understood. Woohoo! And that's what I call strategic leadership, because you got to change your approach. And I say that because that's something I'm working on too. Good. How about that? Do you like that doctor example? Yeah. Now think about it in your life when you thought you knew what somebody wanted or needed, but without asking them first. And all our married guys out there, think about that, right? We often think we know what our wives want, but do we really know without asking? Yeah. Or like, the old, let's go out to dinner somewhere. When are you going to go? I don't know. Where do you want to go? I don't know. Good stuff. All right. All right. So to recap, got me laughing now thinking about that. The 3R, that's good stuff. Where are the 3 in my recaps? Oh, there we are. Essentials of being a good leader. We talked about those essential qualities, right? Having those core qualities, that leadership. Maya Angelou. People are going to forget what you said, forget who you are, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. That's how you achieve that legendary leadership status. And then the second point, commanding versus demanding respect. You command it by your presence. You don't demand it with your voice or your words. You command it by who you are and the example you set. That commands respect. And the last point we just covered, strategic leadership. Give and take. Even Stephen Covey, seek to understand before seeking to be understood. Good? All right. Well, hey, as a reminder, I want to tell you all, thank you so very much. You right there for tuning in, taking time out of your busy day. Now, if you found value in this, and I'm hopeful you did, please like, share, subscribe, 5-star reviews on all the podcast platforms. Ring that bell on YouTube so you get notified of every new video coming out. And if you found tremendous value in this, and hopefully, once again, you did, share it with somebody that you know could benefit. Now, I know a lot of teenagers don't listen to podcasts, but if you think there was something in this message that would benefit either your teenager or you're a leader or a coach, share it with your team. Tell them about it. Because the whole goal is to make, kind of my ultimate goal, make society a happier, healthier, and safer place to live by empowering others to believe in themselves, to be the mentor, the leader, the coach, the champion, the hero that they were born to be. But collectively, we got to work together on this thing. So if you found value in it, please share it with somebody else that can find value as well. And just a reminder on the hockey program, $9 for the 45-minute masterclass. The price is so low, so I can get this in the hands of as many people as I can, because once again, it's going to help them get what they want. So if you've got a kid out there that's not getting the ice time, they're getting overlooked, the masterclass, $9, and for the a few dollars more, you get the workbook and the empowering ebook. So check that out as well. Good. All right. Well, folks, thank you so very much for taking time out of your busy day. I am grateful beyond words, and I promise you, I'm going to keep giving you everything I can. I'm going to keep looking at my books on a bookshelf, reading as much as I can, taking as many notes as I can to bring you the absolute best that I can to help you become your absolute very, very best. And I haven't mentioned this quote in a while, or this, it's a trademark I bought. It's called Kickin' Life. I talked about it today. I was on a Zoom call with someone, and a kickin' life is life. You're not just living a good life. You're not just living an okay life. And life certainly isn't kicking your butt. You're kicking life's butt. Kicking life's butt, living a kicking life, being who you were born to be. Sound good? All right. Well, until we talk again, you get out there and do your best, and I promise you'll be your very best. God bless you. God bless your loved ones. I can't wait to read your comments, and I can't wait to chat with you again real soon. God bless you, everybody. God bless. Bye-bye. Thank you so very much for being a part of the Warrior Confidence Unleashed podcast. I am truly grateful for your time. If you found value in this message, please kindly share it with someone else who could also benefit from it, especially teenagers and adult athletes and leaders who are serious about getting noticed, getting more playing time, and leadership roles. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share your comments with us, and we truly appreciate your 5-star reviews, as that helps spread the message even further. Stay connected with us throughout the week on all social media platforms at Real Rich Grogan, and visit our website at warriorconfidence.com for access to all our programs and books. The links are in the description box. Thank you again for your time, and I can't wait to chat with you again real soon. Have a blessed day. God bless. Parents, are you frustrated seeing your superstar sit on the bench, getting overlooked and passed over for ice time and leadership roles? I personally know that heartbreak and pain. Well, that frustration ends today. Introducing our How to Get More Ice Time program, the amazing one-of-a-kind program for youth and teenage hockey players that helps them get what they want most, more playing time and more opportunities. And today, exclusive offer, we're selling this thing for only $9. $9. It's a no-brainer. But you got to act now because this offer won't last. And if you don't do anything, nothing's going to change. So go to warriorconfidence.com. That's warriorconfidence.com, or simply click on the link in the description box. Buy the program today and help your child get what they want most, more ice time.